So hello. Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and also support my small business at latricecinnamin.com. So I actually have an article here and it states cancers in adults under 50 have increased dramatically around the globe. So I have my own little thoughts about why this is something that could possibly, that is happening and is occurring. But I have an article here. I'm going to read it and give my thoughts as we go. So they're talking about a study, and it says to do this, and this is the study that they're doing, it said they need to look at people born in the 1950s and 60s, okay, and then look at the cancer from 1990s and onwards. So they looked at 14 different types of cancers, okay, and it said the researchers took things one step further and reviewed any available studies that they could shed light on possible risk factors for the cancer. They also look for clues in the literature describing any unique clinical and biological characteristics of tumors of early onset cancers compared to those in late onset cancers if they were diagnosed after the age of 50. Okay. So they're just talking about how they went about doing this study, and also they go in a little further detail later on as well, where they're talking about preventative care, getting your screenings, making sure that you're just making sure that you're on the up and up of everything. This would be more of secondary, but yeah, it's just making sure that you're getting your screenings and whatnot. Now, this is the article brushed upon some of this, but they didn't brush upon every single thing. All right. It said among the 14 cancer types on the rise that we studied. All right. And I had them linked up here as well. 8 were related to the digestive system. Okay. So it's what you're putting into your body. So the food we eat feeds the microorganisms in our gut. Okay. Now, it says other risk factors include sugary beverages, type 2 diabetes, obesity, a sedentary lifestyle, alcohol consumption, etc. Okay, which has all increased. Okay, so and think about it. In the past, okay, you got the hunters and gatherers, or even before all or after all that. You know what I mean? You had people who were in manufacturing jobs. You had people who were moving. You had people who kept moving. They didn't have all the GMOs. They didn't have all the craziness that we got in our food now, additives, coloring, making your apples. Apples are not as shiny as they are when you see them in a grocery store. Okay. When they come off the freaking tree, they don't look like that. Okay, they put like this wax gloss thing just to make them look more appealing to the eye so that you will want it. But what is in the wax stuff? You know what I mean? All of these artificial colorants and preservatives, all of this stuff. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. And hey, these are researchers, these are scientists, y'all. Okay, so don't y'all get mad at me. We're talking about the sugary beverages, okay? Yes, we consume a lot more sugar than people prior to us, our ancestors did. We have a lot more preservatives in our food. It says talking about type 2 diabetes, talking about obesity, sedentary lifestyle, okay? So there you go. You're eating all this crappy stuff that's no good for you. Okay. You're having all this sugar, putting all this glucose, all that. You're not moving. Okay. You're doing what I'm doing right now all day. Okay. Whether that's your job to sit at a desk, for example, or whether you just are at home and you like, yeah, I'm chilling. I'm gonna just sit like this all day long. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that, not getting up and moving. Obesity. I know y'all talk about this body positivity and all this other stuff. There's nothing healthy that's associated with a large amount of excess fat. Okay. Even myself, I'm fat. Okay. So there's nothing healthy that's associated with it. I've even noticed for me, my body's changing in certain ways. Okay. So for people who have a much higher, fat content on their bodies, I can imagine it being much worse. But yes, hey, I'm just saying. All right. People are also talking about, they were also talking about, sleep patterns and whatnot, how people are sleeping a lot less as well. So Here's my 2 cents. After reading this whole article and looking at all these little factoids that they put in here, I have some thoughts. Okay. So some of them I didn't mention, for example, we have the GMO food. Okay. You are what you eat. If you're eating that banana, I just had a nice apple today. Ooh, that apple was good. Had a plastic fork and I broke the fork trying to cut the apple, but it was so good. But it had that clear gloss, like I mentioned. And since we got these seeds and all this messed up stuff, we got the corns, the GMOs, all that. GMOs in that apple. The apple grew because of them GMOs that was up in there, yo. Okay? Helps get rid of pesticides, but all that stuff is absorbed in that apple. That apple now is in my body. Now I got what they put on them fields, okay? Whether it's good or whether it's bad. Okay, so we know about Roundup, for example, and I'm gonna get into all this, but we know about Roundup, for example, and how bad it is, how it has been causing cancer in a lot of different people. Okay, but that stuff is still on the market. We have a lot of stuff in America that chemicals which are banned overseas. Like, you can't, when I say banned, like, you can't use this stuff or you're gonna get a serious fine and or jail time. You know what I mean? Like, we don't do that. But we do that here. That's a problem. And it's all because of money. So I was thinking about it and I'm like, okay, we got all these GMOs that we really need to be getting away from. You do have some foods that are now like, oh, well, it's GMO free or non-GMO and this and that and, whatever. Okay. Which is great. I'm very happy about that. I try, but then again, that kind of stuff costs a lot more money. Okay. And we already know food has gone up, but that kind of stuff costs more. We have the other artificial colorings and dyes in your food. Okay. We've seen that whole lawsuit with Skittles. It's because the weird coloring and they had some other stuff in there, that is not meant for human consumption. And that's the thing. They weren't supposed to use it, but they've been using it this whole time. People were saying those little it's like the star kisses things, you starburst, the juicy and, whatever. It's so juicy. You got that kind of stuff as well. All those little dyes. You get that nice cake, those dyes, even though you may be like, well, but it's in our food. Yeah, that doesn't always mean it's good, y'all. Okay. So it's stuff like that. Also, whatever kind of modifications in y'all medicines that you guys are having, whether it be prescription or not, if y'all know what I'm saying. We got different pollutants in our environment. Our air, for crying out loud, is dirty. I mean, there was a whole article that I read about where they were talking about how toxic rainwater is. Okay, it's absorbing all of this nastiness that's up in here, and it's very toxic to human beings. That's what they were saying. We got our water. Look at what's happening in Flint, it's still happening in Flint. Look at what's happening up in Mississippi. These are contaminants. And you can't just tell me like, oh, well, it's just a little bit of lead, or, the pipes, they just aren't that good. What happened in Texas as well during the freeze. So there's a lot of different things that go into all of this, and it all aids in polluting our environment, polluting ourselves. And that is also what's causing it. So it's not just like you got dirty air, so you're going to get cancer. Nah. Or, oh, well, you eat too many Skittles, so you're going to get cancer. It's a lot of little bit here, 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 until I could grab it all and be like, boom, and I throw it at you. You know what I mean? That's really what's happening. So we also have, and I would say this maybe not, just a speculation, how people are using these drugs, what's in them, as I said, modifications to them, and overusing them, abusing them, and maybe it's doing something negative to your system. Not just like, oh man, it's messing with your liver or something. No, but it's doing something else and maybe causing something else. I haven't seen a study on this. Maybe there is one. Maybe there's going to be one coming out soon about it. We got, as I mentioned earlier, the preservatives. These microwavable, what were they? Them banquet dinners, y'all. I used to love me some banquet dinners. Okay, I used to get the chicken nuggets, with them fries. Those fries were never good though. And then you put them, just thinking about it, put them in the microwave. Really, I don't even use my microwave. I don't use that because for what do you use the microwave for? Just put it in the oven or put it in the air fryer, but we have these dinners that, yes, people use because, they got their kids and they ain't trying to deal with, a little Tyrone, little Alex over here. So here, I'll just give you this. But these are loaded with preservatives, y'all. Oh God, there's Salisbury steaks for banquet. Forget it. They got the Hungry Jacks. They got all this. They got the what are those things called? You got the French toast sticks. You got the waffles, the pancakes. You got those chicken tenders. All of this stuff is loaded with preservatives. That's really what it is. So imagine all of those kind of crazy chemicals that's helping to prolong the food is diminishing yours. We also have another thing on top of this is the lack there, as they brought in the study as well, the lack there of exercise or physical activity. There's a difference. Okay. When you just are exercising, yeah, you got a game plan. I'm going to do 10 reps of this, 20 push-ups. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, whatever. Physical activity is literally you just moving. It's literally you just being physical, you just getting up and moving. Okay. Like you could do, you could just walk around your house, walk around your apartment, whatever. That's physical activity. And people just aren't doing that. Now it could be, we're in this era, technology, people doing what I'm doing. They're sitting down, recording a video, or they're sitting down playing a video game, or they're just in the house, not running outside, or whatever the case may be. But they're not moving around, so there's a lot of different things that can really attribute. And I think it really is a case of, and just bad habits as well. I mean, you got, and I mean, this goes in with the drugs, with like smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. But I didn't bring that up because it was, obviously it was obvious. But yeah, so I mean, as I was looking at this, I'm just like, okay. So we got this whole thing about people getting cancer under the age of 50. And it's like, it's a combination of all this. Okay. Because you can see someone who is really active, they may be ripped and everything, and they get it. And it's like, well, is it genetic? And it's like, no, it's not genetic. Well, how'd they get it? You know what I mean? It's like, what was going on? You can't just, how are people just getting diseases out of nowhere? You know what I mean? So that's why I think it is definitely tied to your environment, whether it's water pollutant, your air pollution, whether it's the food you've been eating. Maybe you look real good with your shirt off, but then you're eating, Hot Pockets. You know what I mean? Or you're eating like Tyson chicken nuggets, so it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So those are my thoughts and opinions on all of this. If I missed anything, definitely let me know down in the comments down below. And until then.